That's going to be me soon, I'm sure. So.
Welcome back to the Something in the Wilderness podcast. My name's Steve, and if you've listened before, you know the premise is simple. One Andrew McMahon song per episode. But today's episode is really special because this is the 100th song of the podcast. Over the 5+ years I've been doing this, we've talked about Andrew songs in a lot of different ways, how they've been the soundtrack to our lives, their place on our road trips, going to concerts and shows, dealing with grief, healing, joy, getting older even. We've revisited eras, deep cuts, B-sides, and somehow, although I didn't even imagine I'd make it this far with the show, thanks to guests like we have today, we've now talked through well over half of Andrew McMahon's catalog, again, one song at a time. So when I realized this would be episode 100, I knew it couldn't be just any song. It had to be something that represented why this podcast existed in the first place. An honest, intimate song, something that's meant to sit with you a little bit, something that connects a lot of fans to each other, and of course to Andrew's music, and helps us through our daily lives sometimes too. So this past fall, I reached out to our guests because I heard them on a different podcast, and they referenced Andrew McMahon's blog from the mid-2000s and how they couldn't access it anymore. So I chatted them. We got to talking to Andrew, of course. From there, we decided it would be great to do a guest spot on each other's podcasts. So here we are. I have Jenn and Megan, the hosts of the Girls of the Rock Show podcast, where they talk about their concert experiences over the years and they interview other musicians. So welcome to the show.
Hi. Jen's off telling her neighbors to be quiet for a football game, but she'll be back in a minute, and this is Megan.
No problem. Yeah, welcome, Megan. And we'll get Jenn in just a minute here.
Yeah. So great to be on. We had you on our podcast last week, so it's nice to be here chatting with you on yours.
Yeah, thank you so much. That was such a good time, a good conversation. I recommend everybody go over to the Girls of the Rock Show pod and check out that episode. Go back to their back catalog. They have quite a few episodes. You interview musicians and talk about all the shows you've been to in the past. So,
yes.
and you guys are friends. So we'll definitely get into more of that. Well, let's start with you, Megan. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get to Jenn.
Obviously, big music geek. I'm a singer, and so I started singing as early as I can remember. And I was in bands in high school and college. I went to school originally for music, actually, and then ended up switching majors to fashion design. I didn't love the music program I was in at the time. It was making me not love music anymore. It was like too detailed into the technical side of things. So I switched majors, but still was always involved with music. And of course, then I met Jenn. She was my roommate at college, and we went to a lot of concerts together through college, even after college. Jenn still often will travel out here to go to shows with me. I'm in California. Jenn's in Florida. And also my other passion is dogs. So that's probably my other big passion.
Singing and dogs. I love them both. So
yep.
That is so cool. I didn't catch that when I was on your guys' pod last week. I don't think that even came up, and I hadn't heard that before, that you were a singer. That's really interesting to me. Do you play any instruments as well?
So I played guitar for a little while in high school mostly, and then I kind of fell off that. I did play saxophone as well all through middle school and high school and part of college. So kind of, but I don't really play anymore. So it's mostly vocals.
Okay, cool. And you still do singing?
I still do like to sing. I will very, very vaguely piano because I was in the music program. We had to, but very tiny amount. But yeah, I do still like to sing. We had a band out here for a little while, but honestly, it didn't last very long. So it's more just my partner and I playing at the house. Usually right before bed, we'll play a few songs.
Oh, that's really cool. So your partner's a musician as well?
Yes. Yeah, we were usually in bands together. So he plays guitar.
So, yeah. Very cool. Well, that sounds like
sings.
a fun
give
little
him
household.
credit.
Yeah, he sings as well.
Sings.
Yep.
I feel like Jen's saying you're minimizing your talents over there a little bit.
It's great because like there's no video. Like that you're not gonna clip this. So I can make the
Uh-huh.
faces that I
Yeah.
want to make. You don't
Sorry,
have to
I
worry.
called you out.
No, it's great. Please call me out because my face speaks when my mouth doesn't.
Okay.
So I'm never
Good to know.
safe.
And
I'm never
and that's
safe.
why it's important that I can see you, but yeah, the
Yes.
listeners
Yeah.
can't. So
No.
very cool. Well, Jen, welcome to the show. We're so glad
Thank
to
you.
have you as well. And Megan and I were talking about how I was on your pod last week and had a lot of
Mhm.
fun. I got to listen back to it already, and I think everybody else should as well. I want to hear about who you are for the listeners today.
I'm Jen. I yeah. I don't know. Who am I? Megan?
It's a hard,
Help people.
I know it's the hardest
It is
question of the
hard.
entire episode.
It is.
Someone told me that not very long ago. I think it was on my December episode. She's like, that's the hardest question. Just tell about where you're from, kind of what you like to do. I know you like to go like music and go to concerts and things like that.
Mhm.
So,
I am originally from South Florida.
hmm
I have a dead mom because I feel like just like
As if
mention
that's
that.
not going to come up later.
Yeah,
that's
that's why I'm mentioning
part
it
of
at
who
the
you are.
top. Why I'm
Yeah, part
mentioning
of who
it.
you are, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Hmm.
a part. I'm still new to it. I'm only like
Hmm.
3 years into the grief part of like losing a parent. So
Hmm.
I've been told that I'm like a little baby in the
Hmm.
whole like dead parent club.
Okay.
When I met Megan, we were at Syracuse together. So I went from South Florida to upstate New York.
Wow.
Yeah, my mom went to Syracuse and she was like, it would be a perfect fit. And I was like, you don't know anything, mom. So I went, met Megan. We were roommates our sophomore through senior years.
Hmm.
So even if she didn't want me around, I like kind of stuck to her like a barnacle.
Well, I guess she kept rooming with you. That was a choice,
Well,
right?
that was the thing. I thought that like that first year, her partner was at Syracuse with us.
Hmm.
He was
Hmm.
a senior, we were sophomores. And I for sure thought like I didn't really live with her, I lived with her stuff because she like lived with him.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And so when it came time to like pick housing for junior year, I was like, oh God, I really hope I have a good time so I can at least get a single and I don't get like a crazy roommate. And
Hmm.
this is gonna age us, Megan. She IM'd me like on AIM.
Oh yeah, I had
And
IM in college. Yep, that's how
yeah,
we
Hmm.
communicated.
and
Yep.
she was like, what's your housing appointment time? And I was like, I told her, and she said, okay, yours is before mine. So you pick. And I was like, oh, oh, we're living together again.
This is happening.
And so, that's how it worked. We went to a lot of shows together. That's a part of who I am as well.
Uh huh.
Love going to shows. I love live music heals you a little bit.
Hmm.
Like,
Absolutely.
so and Megan's been my concert buddy for almost 20 years.
Hmm.
Do you remember the first concert the two of you went together?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, Megan,
You've probably talked about it on your show, I'm sure.
we
Yeah.
have, but like, here's the thing. Syracuse University has this annual concert for the students. It's called
Hmm.
Juice Jam. It's every Labor Day weekend. So technically, that was our first concert together. The first
Yeah.
like non-university concert was AFI in
Yes.
Rochester.
All right.
That's what it was. Then after school, I moved home. Then I moved to New York City. Then moved home. Mom got sick. Mom kind of got better, moved to Nashville. Hated Nashville, came back to South Florida because hating Nashville was a whole thing. And then my mom wasn't better.
Hmm.
So came back to South Florida just in time for COVID lockdown.
Hmm.
Something I noticed and something you said, Jen, and I don't know if you directly attribute this to your mother, but is it true that you met Megan because your mother was like, you should go to Syracuse?
Yes.
So,
Would that be a
well,
fact?
it goes even deeper than that. Megan, I believe you know this. I transferred to Syracuse. I was
Hmm.
at a different school my freshman year. And that summer between freshman and sophomore year of college, I got into Syracuse and my mom called the housing office. She wanted to know where I would be living because there's main campus where all the dorms are, and then there's South Campus where there are, campus apartments.
Hmm.
And my mom begged them not to put me on South. She didn't think that I would assimilate well if I was that far away from main campus. And she begged and begged and begged, and they had an opening in this four-person suite. It's Megan's
So directly then, so your
directly
mom was like,
Hmm.
without like my
we need
mom
to get
didn't know
her over
Without
here.
Megan.
knowing.
Right,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right.
not knowing that this was going to happen.
Indirectly still a little
Hmm.
bit, but yes,
Oh yeah,
but she
Yeah.
had a direct impact on how you landed there.
yeah,
Yeah.
Very
I feel,
cool.
yeah.
Oh, I love that. That was actually a great answer from both of you because I feel like
Thanks.
I got to know both of you much better in the last 10 minutes or so, just hearing you kind of talk through some of those things. But I'm really curious because I was just on your podcast
Mhm.
and I got to share a lot of myself. So now I'm going to ask you guys to share
Mhm.
yourselves. When did you go, or how did you go from we love going to shows together and we love talking about going to shows together to hey, we're going to record this and we're going to make a podcast about the shows we go to together. How did that come to fruition?
I think we talked about it a lot
Mhm.
during lockdown because everybody was starting a podcast in
Yeah,
2020. There was nothing to
guilty.
do. Well, no, but like there was nothing to
Mhm.
do.
Yeah.
And Megan is a designer. She worked for a company that just did not let her breathe.
Yeah.
Mm.
So she was working and working and working and working, and there just wasn't time.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And then my mom passed away in 2022, and I went through, I I don't know, Steve, I don't know if you've lost a parent. I hope not.
I
Like,
haven't.
okay. You don't feel tethered to the earth in the same way. That took some getting used to. I'm still getting used to
Hmm.
it. But end of 2023, beginning of 2024, Megan, I
Yeah.
basically was like, I think we need to start this. During lockdown, I made a list of all the bands we saw together.
Hmm.
It's a very long list.
Okay.
I think we always intended to have guests on, right? Was that
Yeah.
a,
That was always the hope.
but
Yeah.
it was just us because we're mildly entertaining, just the two of us.
Yeah,
I
I've
think.
enjoyed listening to the two of you talk together. I've listened to some of the episodes of just the two of you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
so I mean, I hope that you've listened to the Long Road to Nowhere
Mm.
because that is about going to a Jack's Mannequin show.
Yes.
Was that one of the early episodes?
It was.
I feel like
Yeah.
I listened to several early episodes, and if it was Andrew related, I'm pretty sure I listened to that one.
Probably. Yeah.
I lied to her partner, to Megan's partner,
I'm sure we'll
about
get there because I think there's
how
a question.
the way something was. So it's still
Uh,
gets discussed
yeah.
20 years later. But I think that's how we did like a test run just to
Hmm.
see.
Yeah.
And then we just sort of closed our eyes and jumped off the deep end. And
Hmm.
we had some friends who are in the music industry that
Hmm.
we had on early on. But our first like interview guest is this guy. His Instagram handle is the Vibe with Kai.
Hmm.
And he actually focuses a lot on like mental health, but he
Hmm.
has a background in music and he loves musical theater. So I out of nowhere I reached out to him. And he said, sure.
That was a huge get.
Yeah, that's
And he
really
was
cool. That.
just such a nice guy too. So.
He's become like a good friend, like
Hmm.
just somebody we can message. And like when we were having guests back on, he said
Hmm.
that he would come on, which is nice.
Hmm.
So I think that's where we established our roles of like Megan does the painstaking task of editing everything, and
Hmm.
I just annoy people, which I at least I know my role, you know?
It sounds really good that you have two
Yeah.
people
Mhm.
talking though in every episode. I think that's really great. I started off with I don't know if you knew this, but I started off with solo episodes, and so
Mhm.
Hmm.
there's a good like 30 or so episodes where it's just me talking and I'm just talking about
Hmm.
these songs. But I loved when I started bringing guests in, and that was as well, just like you, always the intention. At the beginning, I was a little hesitant. I was like, how much do I have to establish myself
Hmm.
before I bring someone in? So like I started like putting out little like breadcrumbs on Reddit, like
Yeah.
believe it or not, on the Andrew McMahon Reddit, and I was like, does anybody is it
Really?
or it might have been actually it might have been the podcasting Reddit, and it might have been like, does anybody know who Andrew McMahon is here? Does anybody want to come talk about? I would like to have some guests, and I think those are the first people I found, like
Oh,
actual
nice.
Oh,
podcasters.
that's
And then I kind of expect because I was a little hesitant to start with the Andrew McMahon direct channels, if you will.
Hmm.
yeah.
So I stayed out of their Facebook group, feeling like I was advertising or asking for guests for a while, and I tried to like go around and like try to establish something before. So was there any degree of that with you guys where you felt like you needed to kind of like get a footing or establish yourselves before you really reached out?
Yeah, we're still there.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten like I don't feel like we're on stable footing at all,
Yeah. Right.
personally. It's
You
always
you seem like
scary
it.
because truly Megan doesn't reach out. Like she's not comfortable with that necessarily. And I have anti-anxiety medication. So I can do
Just
this.
break right through.
Yeah.
I can break right
I
through the
was gonna say
anxiety.
that's the difference between us, but that's like the good thing, right? Because I think if it was up to me, like we still wouldn't or talk to anyone, right? Like we would still be like
Really?
well, just because I'm always so nervous to like ask anybody anything. So I remember Jen getting that first guest, Kai, and I was just like, "Are you insane? Like this guy is like a legit person on the internet, like has a really big following. Like what are we doing? Like we don't even know what. Like I'm still learning how to edit. This is all very new.
It's a great episode though.
It is. And he, like I said, he was wonderful. So that was helpful. But that's the good thing because I would have never done that. Like the fact
Hmm.
that Jen is just
Yeah.
like, well, I'm just going to ask. Like, you never know. And we've gotten so many people because Jen's willing to do that.
Yeah.
In all honesty, we did toy around with like, and we have messaged Andrew.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And Megan's first question when I was like, I'm just gonna message him because he's liked a couple of our clips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was like, "Are you sure? Like, will you be okay?" I was like, "Probably not. It's not gonna be me just like having a silent panic attack. I'm gonna be
Yeah.
crying." So, but he's used to that. He's Andrew. He's used to that, right?
Yeah. On one hand, it was, and we talked about this a little bit on your podcast when you asked me what it was like to interview him. It was super nerve wracking leading up to it. But here's
Mhm.
the thing, and I think you've probably had a bit of a similar experience. If I can
Yeah,
read it by listening to your episodes anyway, that once
okay.
you get them there, these people that you see as celebrities. And if they're easy to talk to, if they're friendly, if they're
Mhm.
open, it's like, wow, this is going really well. But leading up, it's the leading up to it that
Yeah.
like just drives you nuts. Like that's how I
Yeah.
Exactly.
am anyway.
Hmm.
Well,
So,
I think for me personally, I don't know about you, Megan, the bands that we've had on, they've all been amazing. All the
Hmm.
musicians, they've been incredible. And we're so
Yeah.
grateful. But if I haven't seen them on like a stage before, I feel a little bit less intimidated most of the time. It's
okay.
when
Hmm.
I have seen them on stage, when I have like
Hmm.
I already have that like, oh, you're God. When I have like
Yeah.
that moment where I'm like, I can't talk to you. I don't know what to do. Like I feel like I can never go see Bayside again. Like he
No.
doesn't remember us.
No.
Megan,
He very kindly acted like he did, but I could tell there was no like
Oh, you saw
recognition in
him
that face.
after you've
Yeah.
interviewed him, you went to see him?
like a year
Yeah.
later, Megan went to the
Okay.
Yeah.
Bayside 2020
I'm
year.
wearing my Bayside shirt.
Oh, cute.
Okay.
25
All right.
years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I guess is a blessing because we can have him on again and I won't have a panic attack.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
But like I badgered him. Like that's
Mhm.
my role. I badgered him. I knew he was a huge hockey fan and I knew that the New York Rangers were playing the Panthers and I said that if the Panthers won, he had to come on and the Panthers won. And he came on.
That's
Mhm.
pretty cool. That's a good deal.
But like yeah, it was crazy. But I never feel like we're on firm foot. I don't think
I
we're on
know.
stable footing at all.
Yeah.
It's always like
Well,
this
it appears that
panic.
way. You guys present it well then,
Thank
because
you.
it sure
Thank you.
it looks and sounds established to me. But yeah, the reason I mentioned this earlier, Jen, the reason we started talking back in the fall is because I heard you guys on the Stereotherapy
Hmm.
podcast actually that I also
Mhm.
listened to, and you had mentioned that I wish I could see Andrew's blog again. And I was like, oh, you can, and I was like, it's just kind of a weird way you have to get there. So I chatted you, and you said you were really excited. So what was that like to go back to Andrew's blog from 20 years ago with the eyes of an adult, or like who we are
Oh,
now? What was that like to
yeah.
go back?
So when I went back, I didn't look at it as a 39-year-old person. I looked at it still as like an 18-year-old
Hmm.
heartbroken girl, like first heartbreak. It's so strange how your body holds on to memories like that, like the way
Hmm.
it felt to read
Yep.
those words. I've read them 1,000 times like before. Like
Mhm.
I used to obsessively read that blog.
Hmm.
It's a problem.
Ah.
Andrew gave me something to focus on when all I wanted to do was just like crawl under a rock and just die.
Mhm.
And I think part of it was he's always been incredibly vulnerable as a
Hmm.
musician, which is so appreciated. There's no bravado, there's no like pretense to who he is. He is who he
Right.
is. But then, like, add on the cancer stuff. And so I could kind of I guess, take all of this empathy I felt and kind of like put it on him
Hmm.
and be like, well, he's really like going through something. And I just focused everything on Andrew McMahon for a long time.
You said you found Andrew during the Something Corporate days.
Yeah.
So it was a couple years earlier. And is that true for you as well, Megan?
Yeah, so I think what's funny is I might have been a little earlier than you two because I think you both said Warp Tour,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
I was
Warped
probably
Summer
just
Summer '02.
OJ, yeah.
yeah, and I was probably just a smidge earlier because I remember early that 2002 I saw the If You See Jordan video, and it was like
Okay.
sandwiched between like a Good Charlotte video and something else, Newfound Glory probably, like something else I liked. And
Yep.
there suddenly was this band I had never heard of, and I was like, "What is this? I need the album yesterday." And so I
Hmm.
went to the store, and the reason I know it was before all that is because Leaving Through the Window wasn't out yet. So I
Oh,
got Audio Boxer, and
yeah, because that's where it was on first. Yep.
yeah. And I became obsessed. Like, I don't know if Jen's ever seen, but like that album, because do you have
Yeah.
the physical album?
Hmm.
It was like a cardboard
Cardboard.
album.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. And it was so worn because I just took it everywhere. And like, it was so beat up. I bought a second copy like, because it was just that bad. And so I was obsessed. So by the time we got to Warp Tour that summer, I was like right there. I wanted to be right in front. Like I
Yep.
was there for it. And so that's when I found something corporate, but around the
Nice.
same time, right? So like the
Same
2002. I
year.
remember I remember getting Leaving Through the Window when it came out. I think it was in May, right? Because I remember it being
Yeah, it
like
was.
right at the
Yeah.
end of the school year. Yeah.
How about you, Jen? Was there a specific entry point where you were like, all right, this is going to be part of my loves now is Andrew McMahon?
I don't remember there being an entry point. I just sort of remember loving pop punk in general, sort of for me happened when I was in middle school. So like
Hmm.
late 90s. By the
Hmm.
time I was in high school, I just was trying to devour as much of it as possible. Obviously, I'm from South Florida, so Newfound Glory
Hmm.
was a
Yeah.
big one. And I remember a friend of mine who was at Warped Tour with like when I was there, but we didn't go together. It was when I
Hmm.
just saw her saying like, "Oh, check out this band. They mentioned Jordan Pundik."
Hmm.
I was like, "Oh, I mean, they don't. They technically don't mention
Hmm.
Yeah.
Jordan Pundik, but it is a fun
It's easy to
joke."
get that confused though
Yeah.
because
Well,
they were friends.
Yep.
they live together. I've
Yeah.
trolled Jordan Pundik on more than one occasion with that.
Hmm.
We saw something corporate when they came back in 2010.
Hmm.
Like they did that brief tour. It's 2010, it's like 10 years of being a band. And
Yeah.
when we were on the train back to Connecticut from New York City, I tweeted, I'm not big on social media, even though I'm like the social media scheduling person for our podcast.
Hmm.
I tweeted, just saw SoCo live in NYC, got to hear If You See Jordan. Are we sure this song isn't about Jordan Pundik? And Jordan Pundik responded.
Oh.
And so right before seeing something corporate last year, I that memory popped up on Facebook and I
Hmm.
shared it on my personal Instagram. And Andrew commented with, "Oh my God, I love this." So it's hard for me to really pinpoint a time where Andrew McMahon wasn't an important person in
Hmm.
my life musically. Just he's just been there for so long.
I know I can relate to that. It's funny something you said to me last week when we chatted. There had to be music before Andrew, and there definitely
Hmm.
was, and I talked about a lot of it. But it's hard to remember back then life before Andrew's music because I feel like he's been writing the soundtrack to my life
Yeah.
since,
Yeah.
and it's been yeah I think a lot. You're nodding like I think a lot of us feel this way, and it was hard to imagine life before that. But I also think it's because he was influenced by some of the very bands that I was listening to
Yeah.
Hmm.
prior to that, and so you can hear those through lines in
Yeah.
his music, which is ultra cool to me.
And
So.
I think that was the thing that got me in the If You See Jordan video is
Hmm.
I love Ben Folds.
I
I
was just
have
gonna
been
say.
obsessed with Ben Folds since I was
Hmm.
very young. My
Okay.
brother's 9 years older than me, so I got a hold of the Ben Folds 5 album when I was way younger than probably, I should have been listening to Ben Folds 5. I was obsessed. And so, I always say for our generation, like Ben Folds is the Billy Joel of our generation, right? Like in my
Oh yeah.
mind, that
Yeah.
storyteller with a piano. And
Hmm.
then it felt like watching that If You See Jordan video, I was like, I have found my Ben Folds, like the new Ben Folds for me and
Right.
my actual generation, right? Like, is this guy. And so I was like, I need to know who he is. I need to go get the album. Yeah, so exactly what you're saying. It fed that piece of like piano rock that I
Mhm.
didn't feel like I really had
Mm-hmm.
like in that pop punk emo world up until that point.
No, that makes a lot of sense.
He meets that, right? For
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
people of our age group
Brought
who
that
didn't
to
ever
us.
get
Yeah.
into Ben Folds, this is their Ben Folds
Yeah. Right.
without them even knowing that, right? Like
Yeah.
That's
this
a
is,
huge
but yeah,
compliment.
It's a compliment to Andrew for
I,
sure. Like I
yeah,
think he
I,
would love to hear that, truthfully, because
Well, let's
he
hope he
really looks up to him.
listens.
Yeah, yeah, I hope so. Well, so there was a list that I sent the two of
mm,
you, and
yeah.
it had songs on. I said these are the songs I haven't covered yet, and the two of you returned to me and said, all right, this is the song. So we're gonna talk about that now. You might be surprised to hear this, so we're gonna get into the actual song we're talking about, and maybe you're surprised, maybe not. But for a long time, the song we're talking about today, it wasn't a standout track for me. It was never a skip, but it was also wasn't one that I gravitated toward
Mm-hmm.
right away. It was, it's a mid-album track. It's kind of, I guess you could say it's a little bit buried if you're not like listening to the album straight through, which I tend to do usually. But it's really only been in more recent years that I've come to find a real strong connection with this song. So I think that's different than probably the majority of Andrew McMahon fans for the song we're talking about today. I didn't catch Dear Jack the movie until years later, and we talked about that on your pod last week as well. After finally seeing that, and then reading interviews with Andrew, seeing interviews with Andrew, and a couple other things, it kind of connected me more to his story. And I feel like this song that we're talking about today is so woven into his life story that it almost was important to me to make those connections first to really connect to the song. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. No, it does.
This isn't a song that soundtracked an early point in my fandom. It's more of a recent relationship. But today we're talking about a song that I don't think I've ever heard an Andrew fan say that they don't like. I'd be surprised to find one, but maybe there is. The song we're talking about today is Hammers and Strings, A Lullaby, is its technical title.
Mm-hmm.
The band is Jack's Mannequin. The album is The Glass Passenger. It was track 10 on that album. That was released on September 30th, 2008. There's also a live from Austin version, which is track 25 on the deluxe edition of The Glass Passenger. You can find that on streaming. But when I sent the two of you a list of songs, did Hammers and Strings jump out you immediately, or it was like you had to kind of think about it, and maybe you thought about other songs first? Did you have to sit with it a bit, or was it pretty immediate?
For me, there were two options. Hammers and Strings was one of them. Drunk Girl was the other one.
Okay.
I try really hard not to make unilateral decisions. So I sent Megan the list and admittedly, she's admitted this. I am the bigger Jack's Mannequin fan.
Mm-hmm.
Megan is attached to Andrew.
Something
I
corporate
sh
is very much my
Yeah.
Andrew. Not that I
Okay.
don't love the other,
Right. No,
his
no,
other
no.
work at all, and I love Andrew.
Yeah.
But something corporate just hit me at that perfect point, I think, in my life.
Hmm.
That music is just a little harder, a little more grungy, a little garage band, and that was exact. And
A little more
still, even
aggressive.
listening to it now, like I listen to, even preparing for this podcast, I listen more to like Jax and Andrew in the Wilderness, and I still something corporate. Like every time I just want to veer
Hmm.
back. So that's why she's saying that. So like I love Jax, but it's
Yeah.
definitely more Jen's.
The song we both agreed on was Hammers and Strings.
Hmm.
That's why we chose it.
I kind of like that. I like it was one that you agreed upon that would be good for the two of you to talk about together.
Yeah, because Jen sent me the list, and I was like, because again, I know Andrew means way more to Jen than he does to me.
And that's a disorder, like on my part. It's disorderly.
And so I wanted it to be like more her decision really in the end. And so I
Hmm.
just said, I think the two that I said were Little and
Hmm.
Hammers and Strings. And I said, those are
Yeah.
the two that I think of this list I like. And you said, well, then Hammers and Strings, because you had already kind of thought the other two in your mind. So
Well, you
it
didn't pick
worked.
if we had picked the two same songs, we would have just rock, paper,
Yeah.
scissored it. But we picked one song the same.
Hmm.
And so
So
that's
it
Yeah.
worked.
that's the one we went with. Like admittedly though, and I don't know if this is, but I didn't love the Glass Passenger at first.
Me neither.
Okay, I didn't, and it's okay to say that here, especially because I didn't either.
Okay.
It took me a while to come around on it.
Yeah.
I liked about half of it in the early
Hmm.
years. And that's why I say, and again, this might surprise people listening, Hammers and Strings was one of those. And I've kind of mentioned this before. Like, I'm going to throw out other names: Caves, Orphans.
Hmm.
The later tracks that are not the resolution on that album, Miss California, I talked about recently, same. Like, I just didn't connect to those end of Glass, like the second half
Hmm.
of Glass Passenger for the most part.
Yeah.
And so, again, this one took me a while to come around on. So I can completely relate to that with like the Glass Passenger not being your favorite. It was quite a departure from what he had done. Like,
Hmm.
not only comparing it to something corporate, which we tend to do, but like just comparing it back to Everything in Transit,
Yeah.
which is
Yes.
this like crown jewel that we've all held up for,
Yeah.
since it came out.
It's a pretty flawless
It's
album.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate Miss Delaney. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm sorry to people who love it.
Okay.
I can't
That's
do
where
it.
I draw the line. All right.
I'm
Like,
so sorry.
I love Miss Delaney.
I'm so sorry. It's like, but
I'm indifferent.
well, when Megan and I were at school together, Syracuse is geographically in central New York. Like if
Hmm.
you look at a map of New York State, Syracuse is dead center.
Yeah.
So we drove all over the Northeast, and a lot of the time we were going to see Jack's Mannequin because Andrew toured on Everything in Transit for a minute. He
Hmm.
Hmm.
really did, and it was great. And at one show, I think this was at RIT, Rochester Institute of Technology. He was like, "I'm recording a new album." This is before Glass Passenger came out, and he played "What Gets You Off"
Hmm.
Out of left field.
and
Yeah.
"Suicide Blonde" because he was crowd
Yes.
testing.
Oh,
Yeah.
Suicide Blonde too. Yeah. Those
Oof.
are some unique songs. I'll
Yes.
put it
Those are
that way
tough.
on that. Yeah, and I have not covered either of those. Funny enough. Yeah,
Maybe skip them.
those were
Maybe
ones
just
that.
skip them.
Yeah, I
I don't
could,
know.
but you know what's funny about this podcast? That like what's interesting about this podcast is that I have found like things about each song to like, even ones that
Right.
came in
Yeah.
saying I don't like it that much, and it's mainly when a guest comes on and tells me about
Hmm.
why they like the song. It's like, okay, like that happened with
Yeah.
Orphans and Caves too.
Well,
Hmm.
Orphans is one of my favorites off of Glass
Is it
See,
real?
Passenger.
I
Wow.
like
Okay, I don't hear
caves,
that very
so
often.
that's
I like
funny.
And you like
Caves
Caves?
They're
too.
both, yeah.
Yeah.
But so when he played it, Megan and I were standing at the barricade, just like going,
What happened?
let's, yeah, we were like not,
That was
we
the
were
was
just
that the
so,
holiday from Real?
yes, I was just gonna
That
get
was my
there.
holiday from Real line. Yeah.
Yeah. You want to say it? So I was like, so we're in the car driving back to Syracuse. I was like, what the f-? Megan said,
I said I feel like Andrew's on a holiday from Real.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
was
he
just
like,
kidding.
so it kind of makes sense with, I mean, even some of the things we're going to talk about tonight. Like,
Mhm.
I think he was in well, we all agree. I don't think, I know he was in a weird spot. And
yes.
and so some
Yeah.
of this was a result of that.
Hmm.
I look,
So,
I'm very much, if I hear something I like from a band, I want to keep hearing that. I
Hmm.
don't want them to veer off in another direction, but I know that that's not realistic.
yeah.
People
See,
are
and I'm
influenced by other things, you know?
yeah, and I'm not necessarily like that. I think I'm pretty open. I just think it didn't hit me the way I needed it to in that moment in my life. Like that's
Mhm.
all. Like, and that is nothing to Andrew or even the album because like listening to it again, I still don't know if it's my favorite, but I can definitely appreciate it more. I
Mhm.
think listening to it now, different perspective, also myself being in a different place in the music that I like and listen to now, then even right as a musician especially appreciate it like I don't think I could then. But it was just such a departure
Mhm.
and I can understand, especially I know Jen, she's we both are very different on that. Like even with bands that we both love,
Mhm.
where something new will come out and Jen immediately will be like, I hate it. And I'm like, really? Because I thought it was pretty good. But if it sounds different, like it takes Jen a
Yeah.
minute. Sometimes she might come
Yeah.
around, but it
Yeah.
takes her a minute. Whereas sometimes I'll be like, oh no, I actually thought this was cool.
I throw tantrums.
I
It's
used to
okay.
be more, I'll say I used to be more like Jen.
Okay.
Mm.
I'm getting to be more like Megan, but I'm probably, if I had to guess, I'm probably in between the two of you on that
Okay.
subject. Yeah.
But I mean, you've covered this song, so I'll just say it. Off of Glass Passenger, Swim is the
Hmm.
most meaningful song to me. And it took
Hmm.
me a minute to come around to that song.
Yeah.
Hammers and Strings, funny enough, you didn't like it at first?
Yeah, it just didn't stand out. Like it was
Hmm.
fine. It was just like, oh, it's just one of the songs.
Well, that song was the one that got me to listen
Yeah.
to Glass Passenger.
I think
Okay. Well,
Swim
that
and Hammers and Strings were my
Yeah.
two favorites off of the
so,
album.
wow. Okay. Well, that
Yeah.
makes sense why that's the one that both of you picked then. That
Hmm.
this
Yeah.
was the standout, one of the standouts on the album. The song is 4.5 minutes, just over 4.5 minutes. It's technically on the longer end for an Andrew song, but
Hmm.
not nearly his longest, as we know.
It's
We
no
already mentioned.
Constantine.
Yeah, and no caves either, to be
Yeah, that
fair.
too.
The song was recorded in either late 2007 or early 2008, was produced by both Jim Wirt and Andrew himself. The album release was originally actually scheduled for April 2008, but was pushed back several times. And I don't know about you guys, but I find it hard to imagine this as a spring album.
Oh God.
No.
No.
It
Yeah.
sounds like a fall album to
It's
me, but
definitely
I
a
Yeah.
fall winter album to me. Yeah.
but it could be just my perspective. I'm so like my mind is so framed in that this is a fall album because that's when I heard it, that's when it came out. But it's just hard for me to imagine.
I feel like even when you listen to Andrew talk about this album, it feels like a fall winter album because he's talking about
Yeah,
like getting
it's
through something, right? And
yeah.
like
Yeah,
working
There's no like
past. Yeah,
renewal.
exactly. So that I feel like it just makes more sense as a fall winter album.
I do too. That's what I was thinking too. So we've already kind of talked about this, but I was going to ask your thoughts on the album as a whole, and we cover that, which is great. But is this so? I'll just kind of dovetail off of that. Is this one that you revisit often? Then, like you go back and like listen to this whole album, or do you just kind of cherry pick and like I'm going to go listen to Hammers and Strings, or I'm going to go listen to Swim because those are the songs I know I like.
Well, I cherry pick for sure.
Same.
As much as I love Swim, can't listen to it.
Hmm.
Because it, you know, my mom and can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
But Hammers and Strings is one that's also, I mean, it's an emotional song to begin with. Like the song's about his piano, right?
Yeah.
But the plot of the song kills me. And I think it was because the album came out when, I was 21 and I was far away from home, still very heartbroken, still very like unsure of everything. And here's this song with this really nice guy who's calling his friend who's having a hard time.
Mm-hmm.
I completely saw myself in the song. It was really
Hmm.
hard for me to separate.
That makes perfect sense. I think, and I'm going to assume something about you as well, Megan, because you live on the West Coast, but lived in Syracuse at least for a time. It sounds like we've all done some moving around
Hmm.
among the three of us,
Mhm.
and there are some notes about that to this song, like leaving friends behind, leaving
Hmm.
things behind, leaving a life behind, or an era of our lives behind
Yeah.
in this song. It does make me wonder what you just said, Jen, if that's why it took me longer to relate to the song.
Hmm.
Maybe I had to come around to it because of what was happening in my own life. I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
Yeah,
Well,
I
and that
So,
makes sense.
yeah, because it took me a couple of years really to like listen to this album actually, like from when it came out.
hmm
And I started really listening to it when I moved to the West Coast. So I'm originally from Connecticut, went to school in Syracuse, and then after college, I don't know why, but something, and it's funny that you say that like about this song because maybe that's why, because I feel like Swim again, I know it's a really special and difficult song for Jen, but it was a song I needed at that moment too. Because I moved, I didn't really know anybody, I didn't have a job set up, like it was a really rough time for me, like mentally. And I moved out here because my partner was out here. So like this wasn't a choice I made like I want to be in California, like not at all.
okay.
So yeah, it was a very hard time for me. So between that and then Hammers and Strings also felt similar in that sense of yeah, like leaving behind everything I knew on the East Coast. Now I'm on the West Coast. It's all very different. And I don't know. I had this feeling after college of like all the things I'd kind of dreamed and hoped that I was going to do weren't going to actually end up happening. And I think I had
hmm
that moment. And so, like, this song specifically felt like that moment of like, oh, this is going to be different. And I like need to put that stuff to bed. And that's kind of how
Wow.
it felt. So I think
So
that's
it felt like
why,
an ending for you.
yeah. And so I think
Like the
I
end
like
of end of
connected.
something.
Yeah.
I wondered about that because, Andrew has done this thing where he's, as we've talked about, where he's stopped one thing and started another. And I feel like that was like, in the irony in saying so is that, but this is just between albums. Like he wasn't even like
Yeah.
dropping a
Yeah.
name to create a new one this time around. But it was, yeah, the song is about an end of an era and a beginning of a new one. And I definitely want to talk more about that too. So Andrew sings and plays piano on this song, of course. It's listed in the album liner notes that he plays the accordion. Do either of you notice an accordion in the song? Because I don't. I looked for it. I listened for it. I couldn't hear it.
Interesting.
But I'm not good at
I,
that. So
that's a pretty specific sound usually, and
I thought so too.
I don't think I hear one, but now I'm gonna have to go back and listen again.
Maybe in the build up and the swell at the end.
Maybe.
Maybe. I guess that would make the most
No.
sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, when a lot's happening. Yeah, the swell.
Yeah.
I like the way you said that, the swell. I didn't know that Andrew played the accordion. I don't think I knew that anyway, unless someone can call me out on that if I've mentioned it here before and
He's got
forgotten.
a lot of talents none of
Yeah.
us know about, apparently.
Yeah. But anyway, so Bobby Raw Anderson plays the guitars, John Sullivan on the bass, Jay McMillan on the drums, Patrick Warren on the organ and the chamberlin. You know what? Let's talk about live history. Let's jump right to it. So, according to Setlist FM, the song's been performed live 187 times, 130 of them under the banner of Jack's Mannequin, 57 more times as Andrew McMahon or The Wilderness. Most recently, it was performed in November on the Jack's Mannequin tour, and you guys are there. I think the very last time it was played was the very last Jack's Mannequin show, or the one you were at. Now I can't remember, but it was mid-November was the very last time it was played. So what was that like? First off, how was it? What did you think of the show when you got to see Jack's Mannequin?
I'll let Jen go
Maggie,
first.
you go first because my answer is gonna. Yeah, I want to hear what you thought.
I think it was funny because leading up to it, there was just a lot going on in my life. I mean, nothing terrible, but it was just a very busy
Mm-hmm.
couple of months until we
Yeah.
got to that show. And so I was like really stressed. And then, of course, like the night before we go to the show, something else like really stressful happened. Like just just so stupid. The shower
A
door
shower door shattered.
shattered all over. My foot was already broke. Like, okay, my foot wasn't broken, but my I had a metatarsal strain that was like really aggravated because we had just been in Japan. Like, I'm sorry, this is a lot of backstory, but this gives you an idea of how I was feeling going into the show.
Yeah.
So I had a metatarsal strain that had been aggravated because we had just been to Japan and I'd been walking literally like 9 to 10 miles on it every day. And so my foot was like twice the size it normally is.
That was really
And,
bad.
and it was so painful. And so then, like, we had this whole mishap happen late at night. I went to try to open the window in like the guest room shower. I hit the door, it flew and hit the wall and shattered.
Wow.
You
And
have pictures.
all over my bare feet. Like,
And
so
you were
then
there,
My
Jen?
bare feet. Oh yeah,
yeah,
no,
Jen was
no,
there.
the emergency was my fault.
Oh.
But it was
Your
stupid though. It
smoke
wasn't really
detector-
Jen's fault. It was
Your
just
smoke detectors are so sensitive.
yeah,
It's not fair.
exactly. It's
I
an
was
old
blow drying
house
my
and
hair.
the ceilings are really low, so like the detector went off when she was blow
Blow drying
drying
my hair.
her hair. So it shattered all over and I was like barefoot and it got in my
It was like-
other foot and I
Oh my
didn't know
God.
that.
Yeah, it
And
was,
so then
Oh.
we couldn't find the glass, but I knew my foot was killing me. And so then we're at, and I'm thinking we've got this show tomorrow. Like, obviously I want to go, but like now I'm just stressed because I can barely stand without feeling like immense pain from both feet. And
Mhm.
I'm like, what are we going to do?
And Jen
And-
flew out for the show.
Yeah.
Right?
And
So
of
she was
course,
there.
and I knew like this was really special for Jen. So like I didn't want to make like a deal of like, I'm so uncomfortable right now. And so I was just like, I'm good. It's gonna be fine. And like hopefully I played that off well enough because we got to the show and it ended up being amazing, of course. And like I always love seeing Andrew and it was really what I needed in that moment. But like, when you're just so stressed, it's hard to tell. Like I need a concert
Yeah.
because right
It's hard
now
to get
you're just
yourself
feeling
there.
like I just want to go hide in a hole and like not do anything.
I've been there. Like I've been
Yeah.
there. I was like, I don't even feel like going to the show tonight. But then you
Yeah.
get there and you're like, okay, I'm kind of glad I
Exactly.
came to the show tonight.
Yeah, so it was amazing. But so that was like for me, it was funny because the whole series of events leading to that night, I was just like, what is happening? Like, what
Yeah.
is going on?
Dang.
for me, I was really excited. I also got glass in my foot, but I was able to get it out. It didn't disappear. I got emotional when we saw Soko because
Mhm.
bands from your youth that like kind of disappear, you're always sad. Like,
Mhm.
oh, I wish I had known that the last time I saw them was the last time. For
Hmm.
me, yeah, I've seen Jax a lot. Like,
Mhm.
so Steve, I actually I have a question for you. I
Yeah,
know this is your podcast, but I feel like this is the appropriate venue.
go ahead, shoot.
When Jack's Mannequin started, did you ever feel like Andrew was sort of saying, okay, like this is my solo stuff, but something corporate's always going to come back? Like something corporate isn't done. I'm just doing Jack's right now. And like that pulled in a lot of something corporate fans.
Hmm.
When he started The Wilderness, I was like, not again. I can't do it. And like it went in a direction that I didn't love.
Hmm.
So I didn't realize that, when I didn't see Jack's Mannequin for their third and final album tour, and he didn't really tour on that one as
Not as
much.
much. Yeah.
I didn't realize that then it would be like 15 years before I was going to see Jax again. So I was very excited. I got emotional with the intro video.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was
Yeah.
awesome.
The way Andrew's voiceover for that was the blog. That's how he
Mhm.
wrote on the blog, and that's all I
Hmm.
kept thinking about was, oh my God, I can get to the blog again. So
Hmm.
thank you again.
Oh, that's so cool.
It was incredible. I
Mhm.
know that you went as well. I was really emotional the whole time. And like Megan doesn't do great with emotion. She's not heartless, but like I know so I was like, just keep it
I
together,
just
just
don't
keep
know how
it
to
together.
react.
I
Let's
was gonna
put
say
it
you
that way.
hide. Do you hide it better? Is that what you guys are getting at? Do you just
Oh,
like
Megan doesn't
whereas
react.
Jen Jen wears it on her sleeve and
Yep.
Megan you hide it? Or not
I
hide,
don't
maybe you're not intentionally trying to hide it. That's a bad
Well,
word,
I
but
mean,
like
I
for it,
think
but
I think it's if we're gonna have a therapy session, this is obviously like deep
okay.
seated into my childhood and like some sort of
Sure.
trauma and whatever else.
okay.
But yes, I'm like very
Very
I'm like I
stone
can't deal
faced.
with this right now, so like it's just gonna go back to the back of my brain and we'll think
Okay.
about it later. And so yeah, I'm not so then I don't know how to react to other people's emotion because like I'm very
Mm,
empathetic. So like I hate when somebody's upset. Like and
mm-hmm.
I know this sounds like very sexist thinking, but I know a lot of guys have that like I want to fix this mentality. I know that's
Yeah.
usually
No,
more a
that's
guy
true.
thing, like quote
Yeah.
unquote. I have that. I don't like that you're
Mm.
upset. How can I fix this right now?
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm just that's all. I just don't know how to react. I just feel bad because I'm like I
And she
hate
just
that
wants
you're
to
upset
feel
and I
it.
don't
Like
But
know
your
how
friend
then,
to.
wants your
Yeah,
friend just wants to
yeah.
be in her feelings
So
because it's a show and
I
she's
try to be
emotional.
better about it. I'm just not a very good. I'm also not like very huggy, touchy feely. So like I'm not a good. Let me give you a hug because you're sad. I'm like a pat you on the back and be like sorry.
yeah,
Like
it's taken us 20 years to get to like a point where like we hug when we say goodbye.
yeah.
It's not a read on you in any way. Like
No, no.
I
I
just
try,
know.
but I'm just
You
not
do.
good at it. Yeah.
No, you do.
No, you don't have to.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you don't have to
I know.
react
I feel
emotionally to
bad. I
music.
feel
No,
bad that
don't
I
feel
like
bad.
I can't. Well, no,
You
it's not even
react.
being.
You
It's not even reacting emotionally to the music or reacting emotionally to the music because I do have those moments. I
okay.
think
Okay.
that's probably
That was my
easier.
next question.
Yeah, that's probably
Okay.
easier for me than to another human's emotions because, and that's I'm the same with movies too. Like I can react to emotion in movies better than like actual emotions. So yeah, I just meant more like I feel bad because I knew this was going to be an emotional thing for Jen. I like wanted to make sure I was there for her. So like my way of doing
Hmm.
that was like I had meta glasses. And so I was
This is
like, well,
so
how
good.
about so you don't have to worry about recording anything or having your phone out. Like I'll wear the meta glasses and I'll
So jealous.
record. You tell me what songs you want the whole song, what songs you just want clips of, like whatever it is, and I will make sure that I record and get it all for you. So that was like my way of being like, I'm here for you. I'm just sorry I'm not gonna be like here, like I won't be hugging you and like telling you
Yeah.
it's okay, but like I'm here and I know this is important. I want to be here for you.
No, it was
That
great.
was my way of
Okay.
It
approaching it.
is it's so greatly appreciated. Believe like I watch those videos all the time.
You took hammers and strings, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
My birthday's January 13th, and Steve, you were on our podcast like on
Mm-hmm.
my birthday, which
Yeah.
was incredible. And like
It was That's so
as
cool.
mentioned in our podcast with you. But I had forgot, I said to Megan, I was like, well, like, what should I post? Because we post for each other's birthdays, like happy birthday to Jen. And Megan's birthday is on Saturday. So the day before this episode is coming out for you on your
Oh,
podcast.
this weekend.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Happy birthday,
Thank
Megan.
you.
So you've bookended our birthdays.
Yep.
Megan said, well, why don't you take one of the videos that we took at the Jack show? Because Steve is coming on and it's like a little nod to what we're going to be doing. And I had completely forgotten that we took a video of hammers and strings. And I remembered really late one night and I was like, oh, we have that.
So that was perfect, and that wasn't intentional, right? Like you just
Hmm.
happened to have the
I,
video of
I
hammers and
happened to
strings.
remember that that was one of the videos taken on the meta classes.
Hmm.
It just worked. It was a little nod about like nod to what we were going to be talking about today.
Yeah.
Kind of perfect, actually. You guys saw him about a week after 11/11 when I
Mm-hmm.
saw him in Detroit. And 11/11, as we all know as Andrew fans, is the Dear Jack
Hmm.
benefit show where they raise money for the Dear Jack Foundation. And it's a big deal from August to November every year. But looking at set list, I've noticed, and it makes sense mostly. This song seems to be a staple.
Hmm.
If he's
Yeah.
playing as Jack's
Hmm.
mannequin on 11/11, this seems to be a staple of that. So if you look back, like at the Live at the El Rey CD, he played it this year. I posted a link to the Live at the El Rey version that you can get on the CD, but it's no longer on streaming. Someone's uploaded it track by track on YouTube,
Hmm.
and that was from 2012. That's a pretty good version. But I want to tell you both about the time that I saw this song. I did see it on 11/11 this past year, which was good, but not as memorable as the time this song actually started clicking for
Mm.
me. It was the Dear Jack 2020 live stream, and I don't know if either of you saw that or remember what was what was fully happening at the time, at least from the Andrew camp. But it was a live stream. It's the only year that he had to do the Dear Jack benefit on a
Mm-hmm.
live stream only, I should
Yeah.
say, for obvious reasons. So November 2020. And, it was pre recorded. So he had like Zach Clark and Ivory Lane and Alan Stone and some of his other musician friends on there. But then mostly his songs, I think 10 or
Hmm.
12 of his own songs. But the most unique thing about those songs performed that he did that night were that he had Morgan Paris on a violin. So she was the violinist that used to tour with them for a bit. And then Mikey, who also did some like keyboards and some strings as well. I think there was a cello on one of the songs too. I'm not sure. I don't have the videos,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately. Like I didn't
Yeah.
record it. It was a live stream, paid live stream. But I did track down the audio of that performance, and it's a version of Hammers and Strings with violin with strings.
Mm.
And that's what I remember getting my attention. And
Yeah.
I think that's when I was like, this is a really good song for some
Yeah.
reason. I don't even know if it's my favorite version of the song. Like when I go back and just listen to the album version, I love that. But it's the one that like kind of hooked me in, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. It was just a unique way of displaying that song. It was like basically swap out the guitar for a violin. It
Mm-hmm.
kind of changed the feel of it a
Yeah.
little bit.
A violin will do that.
He actually, well, speaking of violins, I might as well mention he did a strings attached EP,
Hmm.
came out last August, and he did 5 of his transit tracks. Redid them with piano and violin,
Yeah.
and can't recommend it enough.
Yeah, it's really great.
Maybe he'll do more in the future. That would be cool.
Hmm.
But I'm wondering though, it doesn't sound like there was because you guys already talked about when you got the album, the
Hmm.
album, you listened to the song. Do you remember a moment that this jumped out for you as a song? Like I love that song, or was it just like,
As mentioned, we heard a couple songs off this album before the album
Hmm.
came out, so I was really hesitant. And so
mhm,
it was back in the day when you had a physical copy and you could just
Hmm.
kind of like
yeah,
either, put it in your computer because it played CDs. And I remember just sort of like jumping around from song to song. And obviously like The Resolution was the first single, right? So we all knew The
hmm,
Resolution.
yep,
When we got to Hammers and Strings, I'm a sucker for anything that's like acoustic. And so you hear a lone piano, and I'm like, okay, this is
Hmm.
maybe more Andrew, the
hmm,
version of Andrew that I wanted.
right,
And I think what hit me and like kind of made this song a standout for me was the storytelling in it, because
Hmm.
Andrew is just really good at that. But also
yeah,
the line in the song, I know I'm not crazy, I just lost my will.
Hmm.
That moment, when I heard that at the ripe old age of 21, I was like,
Hmm.
this song is my favorite on this
mm,
album.
Must have been a difficult time because
Yeah.
that's pretty heavy lyric.
I mean, look, you're in your early 20s and you're sad and like everything is like your world is coming to an end. So like that song really fed into that for me pretty seamlessly.
Yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
changes in your life at that time, right? Like with
Mm-hmm.
high school ends, college begins, college ends, like
Mm-hmm.
moving,
Yeah.
friendships change, like
And that's
it's
the
just,
song, isn't it?
family
Like
dynamics change.
Mm-hmm.
that's the song. If Jack's Mannequin hit my life at the right time, that specific song hit me at the
Mm-hmm.
exact right moment, which is kind of sad when you think about it. I really didn't have much hope at 21.
I mean, I don't think that's sad. I tend to like sad music. I think
Yeah.
I told you guys that before. And because it comforts me through the sad
Yeah.
times,
Mhm.
but it also makes those maybe it makes those times in my life more memorable somehow because I have a song to connect it with. So now I have this like sad music
Yeah.
playlist and I'm like, "Oh, that's like that time that, this happened." And but that's okay. It's
Yeah.
it's soothing though. So it feels more memorable, but there's probably a lot of things going on in your life at the
Mm-hmm.
time. But there was also that, and you have a song to like
Yeah.
Yeah.
help you remember that, look back on that, with all these different emotions.
Yeah.
I think that's okay.
Well, and I think like we were talking about me not being good with emotion. For me, and I would assume like both of you as well, because of the emotion thing, I think it's part of it, but also just loving music. It's a way for me to channel that thing that I'm not good at talking about or actually acknowledging. And so
Mm-hmm.
the music is my way of being like, this is how I feel right now,
Hmm.
and this is what I need right now. And so I can listen to that and it helps me like work through the things that are going on in my brain that I personally am struggling to talk about or to actually confront in any way. So I think that's why the song hit both of us probably at a similar time, right?
Mm-hmm.
That moment where we were both transitioning out of college and like onto the next thing.
Music is like your therapy.
Mm,
Yeah.
yes, for sure.
There's this short video on YouTube for each song on the Glass Passenger, and you can find these if you search the song name and Jack's Mannequin or Andrew McMahon. You'll eventually come across these, but he did like this narration about each song
Mm-hmm.
basically. And so they're really short video clips, and he talks about the inspiration behind the song. So I found it, and I'm going to link that in the show notes. I don't know if the two of you had a chance to watch that.
Mm-hmm.
But with Hammers and Strings, it became, in Andrew's words, the last song he planned to write on this piano. And so because of that, and I'm paraphrasing what he said, by the way, and because of that, the song functions almost like an ode, like looking back on all the years he spent with that instrument through something corporate and into Jack's Mannequin, that whole transition. So in a way, it's not really a song about the piano as much as a conversation with it, like framed as a metaphor with an old friend calling him up,
Mm-hmm.
is kind of the way he put it. Now I have personal opinions to add on to that, but that's what I'm going to say about what Andrew said that
Mm-hmm.
he meant. Knowing that it's about his piano, a conversation with his piano, and that the friend calling him up, we don't know who that friend is the friend the piano. When you hear that backstory, does it change how you hear the song at all?
For me, at least, it doesn't
No.
because
Mm-hmm.
it makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like for Andrew, that piano brought him so much good
Mm-hmm.
fortune and also
Mm-hmm.
a lot of pain, a lot of loss, a lot of having to say goodbye. So
Yeah.
the friend, whether it's a fictional person or him talking to the piano, it's just a vehicle. The song to me is still about, having to maybe confront old memories that you don't necessarily want to
Mm-hmm.
confront before you can move
Mm-hmm.
forward. Sometimes soothe yourself and write yourself a lullaby, essentially,
Mm-hmm.
in order to move forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. That's a good point with the title. It's a lullaby. It's a
Mm-hmm.
soothing, something to soothe you,
Mhm.
right? Is it a farewell? Is it a thank you? Is it probably all of
Yeah,
the
Yeah,
I was gonna say
above?
all of the above is what it
I
feels
think
like.
it's
Yeah.
both. I don't know if it's necessarily a farewell. I think it might be like a see
Okay.
you later.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Like he's leaving this behind and it's a memory, but I don't know if he's really severing the ties necessarily.
Did either of you ever read his 2021 book, Three Pianos?
I
It's
haven't.
essentially his autobiography.
I know I
No.
have it and I need to read it. Just I have it. It's signed.
I mean, of course, I'm gonna say it's great,
Mm-hmm.
but it's neat in the way that I kind of see this as like a Hammers and Strings, the way he wrote it
Mm-hmm.
and what he wrote it about or who he wrote it for, whatever. is like a predecessor or prequel, sort of in a sense, to that book, because the way he approaches that book is him talking to his piano, his actually 3 different pianos. And going through the notes for this episode kind of helped me figure it out. It's like, well, it kind of makes sense that he did it in a song, and then that's the style he used for his life story, to write it down as life story as well.
Well, it's interesting because a few years before Andrew had this book published, I don't know how long he was writing it or how long that title, Three Pianos, was in his head. There's a comedian named Neil Brennan.
Okay.
Neil Brennan had a stand-up special called Three Mics.
And
it was one mic for the serious stuff, one mic for the comedy, and then one mic for like the actual stories of his life. And so when Andrew came out with Three Pianos, and it's essentially the same, it's three different parts of his life. I was like, oh, clever people have to section their lives out too. Great. I'm not crazy. I just lost my will. There we go. I am the song.
Do you guys feel like this is a nostalgia song? Like, do you look at it as a nostalgia song?
Yeah,
it feels that way to me. But it feels like you're looking back and looking forward. It feels like a bit of both of those. Like, because it feels like you're saying like goodbye to an old friend almost in a way, but like, I'm doing well. Like there's all these good things happening in my life is sort of how it also feels like. So it's this transition piece is how it feels to me. Like it's not an end, it's not a beginning. It's like we're in the middle of something.
I think I don't want to like drill this home, but it's a lullaby. It's there to soothe. It's graduating college.
I was gonna say, feel free to delve into that, because I have it right here in my notes. Like the song is technically titled a lullaby in parentheses. So it's a comforting, it's a soothing.
But it's sad though. His friend, whoever it is obviously going through something, and he can't be there physically to comfort them. All he can do to like keep the demons at bay for her is to write her a lullaby on his hammer and strings. It's a song that, yes, is about leaving the past behind, but also moving forward. But at the same time, it sort of kind of feels like he wants to make everybody happy. And that's just not reality.
Is it soothing for him, for the piano, for the person, for everyone?
I think everybody. I think it kind of cures his guilt a little bit. It gives his friend something to believe in. And it gives his piano one last chance to bring him good fortune in the form of helping a friend.
I really like that. There's another video on YouTube where Andrew's talking, so I'm going to read this quote. He says, this is about The Glass Passenger as a whole, by the way, but I felt like it was applicable for this song. He says, "To me, The Glass Passenger is a record that will maybe help someone get through a bad day. That's kind of my hope. A lot of what I think this record represented was trying to overcome something, or trying to get to the other side of something. For me, this is a record about surviving the bright and the dark side. It's about trying to toe a line where you'll figure it out when it's all said and done. But in the meantime, let's be real about what it is." I know that part of that video he was referencing his cancer, his survival story, his treatment story, and living through that experience. But I think, he's talked about this a lot. There's a lot more that piled on with all of that, like emotionally, mentally, where he was at the time. He even had a case of writer's block at this time as a result, just like kind of not knowing who he was or where he was going at the time. Based on that quote, though, does that sentiment resonate with you when you listen to this song specifically?
I think definitely with this song. I think there are other songs on this album where I'd be like, I'm not sure.
Can you use your telescope?
But with this song...
What gets you off?
With this song, yes.
Suicide Blonde.
Like, it almost feels like he's describing this song with that description of the album.
That was a real moment at a show where I can remember.
Yeah.
It's like what it sounded like, and looking at Megan going, what's happening?
I'm sorry, Megan was like having like you were answering the question. I appreciate
it.
I'm so sorry.
No,
like
you're good.
Like and I'd like chime in with like this, like these songs that obviously he didn't mean that about.
Yeah.
That's all
I think he was just thinking of this song. He was just thinking of Hammers and Strings when he said this quote.
Yes.
This and Swim.
Yeah.
I think that was it.
And Swim.
And the resolution.
Okay, maybe the resolution. Like There are like 4 songs on this album that this could be about. The rest of them,
Right.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, there's quite a range as we've
Yeah.
talked about on
Yeah.
this album.
At the time, I would probably like hear that quote
Hmm.
and just be like, yeah, I get it. But having like watched someone go through a cancer journey, like in a very personal
Hmm.
way,
Hmm.
this album makes a lot more sense to me
Hmm. Yeah, that's
because
fair.
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
go through so much, and it's not just you have survivor's guilt. You have no clue if like
Hmm.
what you liked before is what you like now. You are just lost. And I kind of get that from this
Yeah.
album, just the way it sounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not a
Hmm.
bad thing at all.
The diversity between some of the song titles
Yeah.
we were just talking about, it's like, but not the song titles, but the
The
songs
songs.
themselves, I
Hmm.
Yeah.
should say. Yeah, it is so like, it's like he was just seeing like, is this what I where I want to go? Is this where
Hmm.
I want to go? And then he put them all on the same album.
Yep.
Yes.
Now that unfortunately, the person in my life, the couple people in my life who I watched, try and survive cancer didn't. But I get it. I get it.
Hmm.
I certainly wouldn't have gotten it at like 20 years old.
Yeah.
Hmm.
He was so young to have gone through all of that. It had to
Yes.
have just been a real mess in his head.
And the album's reflective of
Hmm.
that. That's where he was in his life.
Yeah.
So and
And
Hammers and Strings is just one piece of that.
And it's kind of a beautiful thing, though, that he was able to find a way to write through it and record it and put it out for the world to judge, even 20 years later, for the world to
Hmm.
judge. And I think
Hmm.
that
Yep.
takes an enormous amount of bravery.
I don't want to delve too deep into the sound of the song. I'm just going to touch on it briefly here before we jump into lyrics. But we've mentioned some of these
Hmm.
artists that I was going to reference. One of the things I love about this song is how pretty it sounds.
Yes.
There's this warmth to it, especially in the chorus. It reminds me of a Billy Joel chorus.
Mm.
Yeah.
Billy Joel is one of those artists that my parents really enjoyed. I like Billy Joel. Like I like what
Hmm.
everything I've heard. I've never heard a song I probably don't like by him. It's not an artist that I ever like delved in deep to, but it was just kind of always in my background. I know he's an inspiration for Andrew. We also talked about Ben Folds earlier and how he was an inspiration, and now they've become kind of contemporaries, right? They're still
Hmm.
both very active doing, I don't want to say the same kind of music, but like they're in a similar
Similar. Hmm.
genre, if you will, like piano rock, piano
Yeah.
pop, whatever, singer songwriter,
Yeah.
if you will. But another one I want to reference is something else that like sometimes I hear in some of Andrew's SoCo ballads and his some of his Jack's Mannequin is are either of you Counting Crows fans?
I,
Jen.
yeah, hi, you do.
Hmm.
Kind of gross.
You have a Counting Crows
Hmm.
shirt on right now?
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Oh, that's wild.
I saw
Okay.
them over the summer with Gaslight
Oh, very
Anthem.
okay.
Yeah.
Guess wow, that's an odd lineup to me.
Yeah, we
Is
can
that
talk about that later. That it was a real show.
Yeah.
And I saw them on the night that Ozzy Osbourne died.
Yeah.
So it was just a
Oh, wow.
real it was an
Yeah.
interesting
A
night. But
roller
yeah,
coaster.
I'm a Counting Crows fan.
I like
Okay.
Counting Crows, but I'm not. Jen's more the fan. I mean, if I
Yeah.
hear a Counting Crows song, I usually enjoy it. I
Mm-hmm.
listen, but yeah, I don't like seek it out.
It's not a suicide blonde moment for Megan.
No.
No.
Oh,
I'm not super deep into Counting Crows, but I like again I like what I've heard. I have a handful of their albums, like physical albums, and I do go back to them from time to time. But I do like I think of those are the artists I was thinking of when I
Mhm.
was thinking about like what do I hear in the artists that I know. Like I didn't
Mhm.
just pull these out of thin air, obviously.
right.
These are artists that I know that Andrew has been inspired by.
Yeah.
And these are the ones that I hear in this song: Billy Joel, Ben Folds, and Counting Crows in different ways.
Hmm.
But let's. Are you ready to talk lyrics?
Let's
We'll do
go.
some lyrics now. All right.
Let's go.
When you listen to these lyrics as a whole, do you think? And we've covered this a little bit. So, are we hearing Andrew's story, the piano story, the fans' relationship, Andrew's relationship with the fans? I don't know. It's. I have some opinions about like some of the things that are said in this song and pertaining to the friend and the piano. And what do you all think though?
It feels like he's talking to himself
Really? You think?
Yeah.
at a different point,
Mm-hmm.
maybe in time. And I mean, it could also be an actual person, but like either way, it does to me seem like some sort of conversation either he's having with himself or like that he feels he could attribute to a person, even if he like kind of vaguely knows them or has like, not been in touch with this friend, kind of like they talk about in the song, right? That's how it feels to me. I don't know. I just know from me, songwriting wise, like I do tend to kind of draw off of things that I like personally know. Obviously, that's not always everyone, but it feels like there's got to be some thing, and it doesn't feel like it's coming from the piano completely. It feels like it's coming from either somewhere within him or somebody he does know, but like maybe not super close with.
How about you, Jen?
I agree with Megan. I think that in a way, he's maybe soothing the parts of him that were scared during the whole cancer journey, the younger version of himself, because I know that,
Mm.
growing up, he didn't have the easiest time necessarily. I
Mm-hmm.
know that there were a lot of things with his family and they moved around a lot. It does sound like he's in a way trying to like, I don't want to sound so like hippy dippy, but like soothe his inner child.
Yeah, no, it does. It feels like he's talking to himself. It feels less like a friend and more like a conversation with himself at a different point in time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Obviously,
Okay.
he's created this other character. But even when he talked about
Mm.
it, it was like he was like, "Oh yeah," and then there's that conversation. Like he almost like threw away that
Yeah.
like part of the song. So that's when I was like, I don't feel like this is based on like an actual person you are talking about then. If like that's just a throwaway thing you created for this song purpose, which is fair. I've done it too,
Yeah.
right? But like if I'm doing that, then it's usually being pulled from somewhere else in my mind and my life.
I like that perspective. So he's talking to his younger self or like a different point in time
Mm-hmm.
of his own life. And I definitely do get this visual when I hear this song of him alone in a room at a piano and just
Mm-hmm.
kind of talking aloud or singing aloud just to himself. So that's kind of the visual I have.
Yeah.
But the irony here is that the part of this song I most identify with is calling an old friend, a literal
Mm.
old friend that I haven't seen or can't or haven't been in touch with. We've lost touch because I've moved away or we've gone, in different paths. And so it's interesting that, to read these things, like how he said, this is actually a conversation with me and a piano, or like you guys said, like probably with his younger self while playing the piano. And all of those, make a whole lot of sense after reading and hearing these things. But like I always pictured this literal person, like
Yeah.
Jen, you referred to her as a her earlier, like this person, this
Mm-hmm.
from his past or something on the phone. And so it almost feels like this combination maybe is I guess where my new perspective is going
Yeah.
with it.
Well, when you get to the bridge of the song
Mm-hmm.
and the music swells and you hear Andrew sort of scream, "Give me something to believe
Yeah.
in."
Mm-hmm.
It kind of sounds like he's screaming at his piano. Like one last time, give me something to believe in.
Mm-hmm.
One
Yeah.
last time before we part.
Actually, that line is what makes me think it's related to the writer's block that I've heard him talk
It
about from that
Mm.
time.
very well could be.
Like he's frustrated, right? Like
Yeah.
like give me something here. Like I
Yeah.
don't I don't know if this is working anymore.
And when he gets that part where he goes up on nowhere to hide, like, and
Yeah,
it's
Yeah.
his
just
voice
almost like his
cracks a
voice, it
little
kind of
bit.
cracks, and it
Yeah.
Yep.
doesn't, it's not
Yeah.
clean, but it's like, just come on, like I'm right here, like I have nowhere to hide. Yeah, I'm hashing this out with you. Yeah, and that piano is doing the like upscale, that like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
like in the background.
Oh, that part, like he does.
Hmm.
I don't think I've noticed from the live versions that I've listened back to, and I don't remember what it sounds like in concert exactly, but I do know
We
this.
can send you the Google
Yeah, you'll have
Metaclass
to
The
send
meta
it to me.
class.
video.
Well,
Yeah.
the ones from the recent shows that I have recordings on, he doesn't go as high as he does on the album.
Yeah,
But I'll tell you what we do, like as an audience, like
of
Oh yeah.
I know
course,
that
of
I
course.
sing up high. Like
Yeah,
I try to,
Yeah.
because it's like group therapy at that moment. It's
yes,
like we're all like screaming out.
yeah.
That's what I
Like
remember about seeing it live.
I don't know if you've ever gotten like so frustrated and so angry when you're talking to somebody about something, and you just kind of can't help but like all of your emotions kind of explode, and then you realize it, and you're like, oh yeah, but like no worries. That's kind of what the song at the end is. He's
Yeah.
screaming, "Give me something to believe in, so write it down. I don't think that I'll close my eyes,"
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
and then it just comes back down, just
I'll
ends in
write you a
that,
lullaby.
Yeah.
and that's it. That's it. I'll write you a lullaby. Like it's like no worries.
Hmm.
Everything's fine.
Oh, I like.
I'll
Yeah,
I'll
that's
Yeah.
I'll
cool.
soothe you. That's my job. It's my job to
Yeah.
soothe you.
I'm frustrated, but I'm gonna be here for
Yeah.
you.
Exactly.
What about are there any other lyrics that jump out at you? Some ones that like you either identify with personally or ones that just feel very important.
Yeah, I really love when he says it's coming from the friend, like quote unquote, like
Uh huh.
just promise you won't let it be just the keys that you touch.
Mm-hmm.
That line, like as a lyricist, whenever there's like a really clever line like that
Yeah.
in any song, I'm always like, oh,
Right.
that is a good way of putting that. I would have never thought that way. So I
Uh huh.
love little clever things like that. So that to me just that's just such a beautiful way to say that. I want this to touch the soul, not just your piano keys. Like what a
Okay. I was pretty sure that's what you were getting at, but I was
yeah,
gonna ask,
like
but yeah, you just said it.
what a beautiful way to word that. And then of
Yeah.
course I think we all have had the feeling of a breath from the breathing because we're all just breathing to stay alive, but like we don't have that like we just need that minute to take for ourselves, relax to whatever it is. And it's so hard
Mm-hmm.
to get that time and that like mental space a lot of times. And so that line, especially, I think hits me.
Related to songwriting or the subject of songwriting in the lyric again. I never thought about it this way until recently. I'm not. I'd like to know your thoughts. He sings in the chorus, "Cause lately I'm not dreaming. So what's the point in sleeping?" And to me, that feels like a metaphor for like what if I'm not even dreaming or I'm not even
Mm-hmm.
being creative. Like, what's the point in any of this then? What's the point in even being here then?
And I think that was one of the like lines that hit me back in 2010, like I was saying when I moved out to California, because I did.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like all my dreams were that was it. Like I everything I was hoping for wasn't going to
Mm-hmm.
happen. And so that I remember that line especially at that moment being like a because I did. I felt the same way of
Yeah.
yeah, it's not about sleeping, dreaming. It's about just dreams. Like the things
Mm-hmm.
that we were hoping for aren't happening anymore. So like what's the point?
Go a little bit further with that line because lately I'm not dreaming, so what's the point in sleeping? It's just that at night I've got nowhere
Mhm.
to hide. For me, at least in my life, at night is when everything gets the loudest, when everything is still,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
the world gets the loudest to me. And so I relate to that lyric, but like, it's just that at night I've got nowhere to hide. There are no distractions. You are with
Mhm.
yourself.
Yeah.
And that's really scary sometimes.
Because when the world is quiet, your mind is louder
Mhm.
sometimes.
Exactly.
That's powerful there. I've got nowhere to hide. Yeah. Lyrics that hit me pretty hard. I referenced this earlier, but it's that friend that calls him up. My friend
Mhm.
calls me up. She says, "How have you been?" I say, "Dear, I've been well. Yeah, the money's come in, but I miss you like hell. I still hear you in this old piano." So it totally makes sense. On he's talking to the piano or he's talking to a past self. But I really want it to be like a person too, because
Yeah.
that's how I identify with
Mhm.
this part of the song is like calling that friend or getting a call from a friend. It's like, wow, why have we lost touch?
Mhm.
But it also makes sense for the piano, like losing touch with the creative instrument that he uses.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I feel like he even steps up the lyric a bit in the second verse. My friend calls me up with her heart heavy still. She says, "Andy, the doctors prescribed me the pills, but I know I'm not crazy. I just lost my will," which Jen, you
Mhm.
referenced earlier. So why am I taking them still? Those lines are just like they hit me like a ton of bricks. It's like this like person that's crying out for help and he hasn't been there for them or something. That's kind of how I've always interpreted that like second half of the second verse. And you mentioned guilt earlier.
Well, it's even how the song starts. As time goes on, you sort of like maybe he didn't appreciate his piano as much as he
Mm-hmm.
should have because the hammer and strings are following him around like a
Mhm.
groupie. I mean, just thinking about how long he had been in the music industry at this point and how long he had been touring with something corporate and then Jack's Mannequin for everything in transit. I think the lyric that always sort of gives me chills is from a box-filled garage to the dark punk rock clubs of 1,000 American
Mhm.
towns. He's devoted his life to music at this point, and it's a life that he fought to have. So, I mean, like that lyric always really hit me really hard. And then obviously, I know I'm not crazy. I just lost my will. To this day,
Yeah.
kills me. I
Devastating.
can't. And like I do wonder, at this time, was Andrew, maybe taking antidepressants, like feeling like he was
Mm-hmm.
crazy because here he is. He survived this
Hmm.
incredibly awful
Mm-hmm.
diagnosis, but he knows he's not crazy. I think there's a lot of like internal struggle
Yeah.
here.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great point. That I mean that does really fit with him talking to himself actually more than I realized until you just said that because he was on all kinds of medications I'm
Yeah.
sure. I want to go back to a line that you mentioned, Jen. These hammers and strings been following me around. You
Mm-hmm.
mentioned. Do we think Andrew's saying that the music saved him, or the music is something he can't escape, and
I think
sometimes
it's
it's
both.
exhausting? Or
Probably a bit of both.
I
Yeah.
think it's both. I think that, I mean, when you look back and I know you didn't follow the cancer journey like I did.
in real time, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I didn't know about it till after.
the fans kind of like really rallied behind
Mm-hmm.
him and would show
Hmm.
up at the hospital. I mean, I can't watch Dear Jack.
Mm-hmm.
Like I won't be okay. And you and your wife watched it.
Hmm.
So I'm sure that you saw like fans were leaving like messages in the grass, like under his
Mm-hmm.
window so he could see it. And that blog, I think when he was in the hospital, he wrote a lot when he was recovering. So I think the fans gave him something to focus on. I think the music gave him just something to focus on, but then it kind of became a hindrance
Mm-hmm.
because all of a sudden it's not everything in transit. It's not this happy California poppy vibe that he
Yeah,
had
Yeah.
before the diagnosis. Now
right.
it's a lot more heavy. Now
Very
it's a lot
different.
Yeah.
more, who am I? What am I doing? What do I want to do? What do I want to sound
Hmm.
like? What do I want my message to be? I think it's both a blessing and a curse. And this song kind of shows both sides of that. He can write himself a lullaby, but he's still kind of struggling in some regard. He's just a really good storyteller.
Yeah.
The way he writes, just in general, even if I don't like the music, the lyrics are always just,
Mm-hmm.
they all hit me.
Lyrics are very important to me in
Mm-hmm.
almost all of the music I listen to.
Mhm.
It's something that really rose to the top for me with Andrew when I started
Mm-hmm.
following him from the SoCo days, even admittedly even more into the Jax days and
Mm-hmm.
and then continuing on Andrew McMahon in the Wilderness because I feel like I've identified with these lyrics from like when he was a kid
Yeah.
to when he through when he got sick
Yeah.
and when he was like a mid-20s kid doing whatever and now he's doing adulting stuff more or
Yeah.
less, and I can
It's
identify
crazy.
with that.
Uh-huh.
And so
Well, I mean, you're talking to somebody who has a SoCo lyric tattooed on their foot and a Jax lyric tattooed under their left arm.
I'd say lyrics are important to you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
tad bit.
What can you remind me what the lyrics are that are on you?
So on my foot, I have a lyric from the song Letters to Noel, and it's
Hmm.
Obsession, Don't Give Way to Pain. And as I was getting it done on my foot, which is a really painful place to get a tattoo, one of the other tattoo artists saw what it said and he went, "You regretting your decision?" And I just went, "No," as I'm like gripping on for dear life. And
Hmm.
then the one under my arm is one I got from my mom, and
Hmm.
it's from Swim. And it says, "Just keep your head above, Swim." Those are the two. They're great. It's Jackson SoCo.
Hmm.
I couldn't get into the wilderness. It was beyond me. It's too smart for me.
Yeah, it just may not be your style, and that's okay
It's
too.
really
So
not.
Yeah.
And I think
yeah,
we
he's different.
talked.
It's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The llama raft. I can't. It's fine. He's having fun. Everybody's having fun. Yeah.
He did legit crowd surf in Chicago a few years ago, and the man fell through the crowd. For his sake, he might just want to stay up on that
Yeah.
llama.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly.
I get it.
Safety reasons.
Yeah.
I see it and I'm automatically like, oh, the wilderness took over. Got it. But look, what's important at the end of the day when you see him live is that he's having fun because then
Yes.
Yeah.
that energy comes out to the crowd.
Of course. Yeah.
And he's following his current inspiration, which
Absolutely.
definitely
Yeah.
related to what he's talking about in this song. Like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you need to change to
Absolutely.
to follow that
Yeah.
inspiration. So,
Yeah.
do you have a specific favorite, like overall? Because we've talked about a lot of parts of the
Mm-hmm.
song. Do you
Mhm.
have a Megan? Do you have a specific favorite part of the song?
Well, I think it's probably pretty cheesy, but I love that swell that we were talking about at the
Okay.
end. I love that running piano line
Yeah.
like in the background. I love that like kind of screamy vocal. That probably, but I do remember that the beginning, it just being so stripped down, that was the thing that definitely caught my attention at first, of course, right? Because it's the beginning of the
Hmm.
song. But like, I love that. Just I can't really play piano. Jen's trying to claim I know how to play piano. I can like chicken peck at a piano. Like I cannot play, but I love piano and I wish I knew how to play. And so I always like anytime I can just hear like a beautiful piano ballad, like I'm in. And then I just love how his vocals sound. Like on this song, they feel a little like strained almost, like it's painful. Like it's not
Hmm.
smooth sounding, Andrew.
Yeah,
It's
it's not perfect, Andrew.
yeah.
It's not perfect vocals. Yeah.
Yeah. I just like that throughout the whole song, but that yeah, that swell and then that beginning just being so stripped back. Perfect.
How about you, Jen?
I mean, this swell with the
Mhm.
bridge,
Hmm.
that part, I always tear up. And I agree with Megan about the beginning of the song and how it's
Mhm.
just so beautiful because it is very stripped down. But for me, it's when it's something about the way it sounds when he says, "I still hear you in this old piano."
Mhm.
There's something
Hmm.
about it, to me at least, that sounds really haunting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Haunting.
Like
I
his
agree.
ghost is
Yeah.
in these old punk rock clubs.
Hmm.
He'll always be there. And I think that that translates through probably how stripped down it is.
Mhm.
It's just him.
Hmm.
But that's swell with the running piano and the, strange screaming voice.
Mhm.
There's something just really special about it. There's something that I think everybody can connect to because I think we've all been there. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. If we're talking about the live show, that is also my favorite part. I have it right here in my notes. So if we're talking about the live show specifically, it's so lately I'm not dreaming. So what's the point in sleeping? It's just that at night I've got nowhere to hide. Specifically on that swell that you
yeah.
mentioned. There's just something I mentioned earlier that feels like group therapy in that
Oh
moment when
yeah.
we're in a crowd singing it together.
Yeah.
But on the album, it is really it's the conversation with whomever he's speaking to, himself, the piano, whatever.
Mhm.
I love that. It's so impactful. It feels like there's a lot of meaning to Andrew with those lines, and he sings it in such a way that
Mhm.
it feels very meaningful to him. So like that this is pretty serious right here.
I think in retrospect, like looking back on the album,
Hmm.
I think for a lot of us, it might have been really difficult to listen to because knowing what Andrew went through, like I think a lot of people thought that Everything in Transit was the quote cancer album, but it wasn't because it was
Wasn't.
done
Mhm.
Right.
before. So
Mhm.
this is really, I think, looking back, it's an album. I think we kind of like all internalized, like we knew this was going to be about some type of journey he was going on. So you have
Mhm.
this song that's like, I'm going to try and soothe whoever you are. I'm going to try and make things better. It's this journey. And I don't know if those of us that were, elder millennials when this album came out, I don't know if we were like, if we were okay enough at that time to sort of digest all of this.
I
Mhm.
mean, I can completely agree with what you just said because I wasn't ready for it
Yeah.
apparently.
I think it took me time to actually sit down and listen to the whole album, physical
Yeah.
copy. And like
Yeah.
the thing is like at the time too, Andrew was doing those posters, those screen printed posters. And like every time he bought a certain like amount of money, he like would include Glass Passenger. So I have like 16 copies of Glass Passenger, like physical copies.
Oh, because you were buying the merch at the time.
Oh, I
Yeah.
bought everything. I bought
Yeah.
Megan.
Yeah.
Every day there was like a new like poster tube at our door, and it was one of us. Me not being able to listen to an Andrew album is very strange because I'm usually like in, but this song still hits me to this day. And it's almost like, we could pick apart every lyric and it
Hmm.
would be meaningful to me in some way.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah. These lyrics are very meaningful as a whole. Yeah.
That's why we all have sound machines at night, like white noise. So we don't have to be
Mm.
alone at night.
Yeah.
So he was onto something in 2008.
I'm really glad that we did this song for episode song number 100 for this show.
Mhm.
I feel like it was a
Crazy.
it's crazy that I'm at 100 songs, but it's also crazy. It just kind of worked out. Like everything kind of fell into place. When you suggested Hammers and Strings, I was like, well, I have 100 coming up soon. Like, that would be the song. That would
Yeah.
be the one that we should do for 100. So this is perfect. And I could have the two of you on. And so I'm so glad that you suggested this one because it feels like an essential part of Andrew's life story.
Hmm.
And, we've really dug in on this. And I'm so glad that we had the opportunity to do this. But obviously, this song isn't just special to the three of us, it's special to the fan base as a whole. Like, I feel like it's one of those we kind of look to be like, that. Yeah, that's the Andrew we know and love. And I think there's also something a little bit special about it in that I don't think a casual Jack's Mannequin fan would maybe knows it as well,
Hmm.
right? It's like more of the fan song.
I think that if you followed well, first of all, congratulations on 100 episodes. That's a
Yes.
Thanks.
real like
Yes.
accomplishment.
It's
Thank
Congratulations.
you.
yes.
You can casually listen to any Andrew project, any Andrew song, and you'll like it. But if you're a fan, like you know?
Right, there's deeper meaning.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Exactly.
think that's it
Hmm.
with this one. Yeah, it means more
It,
when
it
you know the
it's
story.
and like it means more because especially if you were at a certain age when this came out, it just captured you.
Hmm.
Yes.
And I mean, didn't have to be like, you were in your early 20s. Like you could be in your 70s and if you know the story, it just catches you at the right
Hmm.
moment
Hmm.
Yep.
where you're like, okay, this guy went through something and I'm going through something too.
Yeah.
This song is one of, I mean, there's several, but this is one of the ones that helps illustrate and define his life story for me.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I agree.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I hope that he's proud of it, honestly,
Hmm.
like that he enjoys playing it.
I think he is. Yeah, I think it's still something that's super important to him,
I
actually.
hope so, because
Yeah.
it's so important
Yeah.
to like his fans,
Hmm.
Hmm.
truly. I would have been really sad if he didn't play hammers and strings.
Yeah, I feel like that's
Yeah.
kind of an essential track, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
If you're
Definitely.
reuniting Jack's Mannequin,
Yes.
it's Jack's Mannequin.
Yeah.
Just to kind of zoom out a bit,
Hmm.
just one final question for you before we wrap up. What other Andrew McMahon songs feel the most special to you personally? And we'll start with Jen.
So there are two. There's Letters to Noel, which
Hmm.
I have tattooed on
Yeah,
my foot.
tattooed. Yeah,
And funny enough, it's not Swim, but for me, it's Amy I because that song hit me when I was really sad and alone and living in New York City. So I would just sit and listen to it and cry. So yeah. And I was really excited. I had never heard it live.
yeah. I was super. Yeah, I was so glad they
Yeah.
played that one on the Jack's tour too, because that's a
Hmm.
favorite of mine too. They don't usually play that in the wilderness,
Yeah.
so
I'm glad that you covered it on this podcast already. I was sad that you covered it already because
I get it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know I think
Mhm.
I know Megan's answer, but
Yeah, my favorite is Walking By for sure. Has
Hmm.
been since I got that Audio Boxer album and heard that song, and I can't necessarily explain it or put my finger on it, but it's the perfect song in my opinion. I think it goes back to me talking about his songwriting and just the lyrics. Like so many clever little lyrics in that song,
Hmm.
and I just love the piano line. That's my all-time favorite. I think there are a lot of Something Corporate songs that are like really special to me though too, so I could go on a crazy list, but like Save You, I think has a special place in my heart,
Hmm.
and Hurricane has a special place in my heart because that was the first song on that audio boxer album. So like the
Yeah.
first song I heard from that full album aside from If You See Jordan was that, and it's just such a great song, and I remember like hearing it and just being like, oh, this is going to be a really fun journey. And then Me and the Moon, Only Ashes, like there's so many good songs. i
Yeah.
i don't know, it's hard to pick.
I
I
mean
love
we
that you have this special relationship with Audio Boxer in particular. I actually don't hear that very often, but it's clear. You referenced Hurricane and If You See Jordan, and then of course
Hmm.
Walking By, and Little came up earlier as well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
so it sounds like that was really impactful.
It was.
That
It
EP.
it was really, really impactful. We actually did a thing with another friend of ours where we did like our top 10 like debut album, like
Mhm.
and this was number 4 for me. So
Okay.
it's, yeah, very impactful. It was, yeah, exactly what I needed, exactly when I needed it. And
Hmm.
yeah, and the same thing for Leaving Through the Window, which obviously is like they're almost like piggyback. when I think of something corporate or even like Andrew, probably the visual in my mind is that album cover. Like I love that
Yeah.
Audio Boxer album cover. It's
Hmm.
I don't know, the flaming piano. It's so good. So yeah, I don't know why, but there's just something. I think because it's short. It's a little EP, like it's shorter. It's got
Yeah.
like the perfect lineup of songs. Like
Yeah.
every
Every song is
single
great, though.
song is so good.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. It was a treat having you. We got to talk last week on your
Yeah.
show. We
Yeah.
got to talk this week on here. Milestone episode, of course.
Yes, congrats.
Thank
Yes.
you. I've had a blast this week. For everyone listening, again, can't say it enough. Go check out Girls at the Rock Show. Listen to their episodes where they've interviewed, like I said, musicians and other podcasters. And I love the questions. I had a lot of fun with them.
We're glad. Well, thank you so much for having us.
Yes. Thank you.
For listeners who may be new to your podcast, in your own words, maybe, can you tell us a bit about what you guys have coming up or what you guys do over there?
What do we have coming up? I don't, lots of interviews. We're like,
Yes.
so sometimes it's me and Megan talking about concerts we've gone to, which can get a little strange because we have different memories of the same concert we went to
That's fun.
together,
Mhm.
which I find a little bit problematic because I don't remember certain things that Megan does. So I'm not questioning my memory. And we also have guests, and we ask the guests the same questions. And some of the answers are kind of unhinged. We do have an episode, seriously, though, we do have some of the guests, Steve, have been to Woodstock 99,
I know. Yes.
which,
That was
okay.
amazing.
Yeah, everyone needs to listen to your episode because like
Yes.
there is
I
definitely a
did talk about
pre-Andrew.
Woodstock 99.
You
Yes.
did. You did talk
And that
about
was
Woodstock
that was
99.
definitely pre-Andrew. That was my pre-Andrew life,
Mm-hmm.
in the 90s.
So,
Speaking of shows, do you guys have any concerts, any shows coming up that you're going to, or like maybe any plans to get together this year?
well, we always have plans to get together. Like,
Yeah, I'm sure
it's
things
just
will
getting
pop up. Yeah.
here, like in South Florida, we have, at least for what I'm paying attention to, Say Anything and Motion City are playing
Mm-hmm.
on
Oh yeah.
Saturday, and I might go. And
Hmm.
in February, Unwritten Law is going to
Mm-hmm.
be here, so I might go to that.
Oh,
So
those are some
nothing,
good shows.
Yeah.
yeah, nothing
Wow.
concrete, but we're at the
Hmm.
beginning of the year, so we'll see what
Yeah.
happens.
May is going to be the busy month for me so far, at least. So Louis Capaldi is going to be at the start of the month,
Hmm.
and then it's Youngblood, and
Oh,
then
Youngblood, we talked about him
yep,
last
Yep.
week.
and then right after that is Yellow Card, Newfound Glory.
I got to get a ticket to one of those shows. They're not coming
Yeah.
to Columbus, but they are going to be in Detroit near my parents' house, so I might have
Oh,
to make a
nice.
trip up that way.
Trip. Yeah. So that's the busy month. And then I haven't gotten tickets yet, but I am likely going to be doing all I can to get tickets when it gets a little closer for the My Chemical Romance The Used show on October 30th at the Hollywood Bowl. I will be doing anything in my power for that one.
Yeah,
So,
that would be a show.
yeah, I mean, I tried everything in my
Right.
power to get them when they first came out, and it was did
Yep.
not work out. So
It did not.
we will see what happens. But
Yeah,
I
good
am
luck.
determined. I'm
It
very
didn't work out
determined.
so much that like Ticketmaster
Yeah,
blocked her IP
yeah,
address. I was there.
yeah.
We could go down a rabbit hole with that
Oh,
whole thing. Yes, it's a problem.
the used, especially, they're my Andrew McMahon, right? Like that's my special band.
Kurt McCracken
Yeah.
is your Andrew, is your dirty,
Yeah, I mean Andrew's a
dirty
better
Andrew
human
McMahon.
probably, so like I kind of hate to compare those two, but
Yeah. But yeah,
Oh,
the man makes good songs though.
so
So,
he does.
well, thank you guys again for being on. This was awesome. I'll
yes,
leave
thank
you
you.
with this quote from the song on this cold January night. By the way, my kids have already had school canceled tomorrow because it's too
Oh
cold to go
wow,
to school. So just to give you
you
an
guys
idea
are
of the
in that,
Midwest right
yeah.
now. So what's the point in sleeping? It's just that at night I've got nowhere to hide. So I'll write you a lullaby.